Hi, we are going over the Modern Dental Assisting book, Chapter 5 today, and we are starting on page 35 where it says patient records. So, patient records are important. They are legal documents, so they have to be protected and handled with care. That means that everything that you write in a patient record has to be written very clearly and legibly as if it's being seen in a court of law, because a patient record can be summoned and be used as part of a court hearing or a trial. So everything has to be legible, not only to you, but to everyone else. So things that can be called into court not only are the written or computerized chart notes, but also any written record diagnosis, a radiograph, a consent form that a patient has signed or that you have also signed as a witness, updated medical history, a copy of medical or exam laboratory prescription, correspondence to the patient or about the patient. That's all part of the patient record. That can all be part of something that's called into court. So that has to be kept organized and neat, and you have to maintain that very diligently. So it is also called a dental chart. So if they say, give me the chart or give me the record, they're talking about the same thing. So the patient's record not only should nothing be left to memory, but everything has to be written down or typed into the chart, whether it's paper or an electronic format. So they all have to be, everything that is for that singular patient has to be filed together in that patient's chart or that patient's folder. So it needs to clearly show the date and the details of the services provided for that patient on each visit that they're there. So let's say that you have a patient come in and what you wrote down isn't exactly what was done. Let's say the doctor told you to take 2 bite wing x-rays and you had to retake an x-ray and you actually took 3 bite wing x-rays, but you wrote down 2. You're not going to cross out, scribble, or ever white out that you took 2 bite wing x-rays. What you're going to do is draw a singular line through the middle of the writing of 2 bite wing x-rays, just one line through the middle so that they can still read what you wrote. And on the next line down, you'll write 3 bite wing x-rays. You'll write the correct procedure that you did. You will initial and date basically the deleted entry, even though it's not deleted, it's just crossed out. So you cannot remove the entry completely. You have to, if it's written, you can draw a line through it, initial and date it, and then write the correct entry underneath it. If it is a computerized entry, there will be a way to essentially remove it but not remove it. So that it's still in the chart, but show that it was not actually done, that it was a mistake. So to remove it as a charge for the patient and as a procedure for the patient, but it will still be posted in their chart showing that it was put in their chart as a service at one time. So that is very important that those records are maintained and the integrity of those records are maintained. So I can tell you that, in the first office that I worked in, we weren't even allowed to have whiteout in that office. That was just a major no. And that's like that in a lot of offices. So now we're going to go down to the section in your book that talks about HIPAA. So in that section that is on page 37, it's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act is what HIPAA stands for. So it's HIPAA. You do have a report coming up that's going to be due on session 4 that, I believe it's session 4, that is a HIPAA report. So the purpose of HIPAA is to provide consumers with greater access to healthcare insurance, is one reason. Another reason is to protect the privacy of protected health information, which is the number one thing that people know about HIPAA, is that it's to provide the privacy of protected health information, or PHI, which is protected health information. So when we talk about HIPAA, people are like, oh yeah, that protects my health diagnosis, my medical records from people that I don't want seeing that. But that's not the only thing that HIPAA is for. So like I said, the first thing is that it provides consumers with greater access to healthcare insurance. It also promotes greater standardization and to enhance efficiency of the healthcare industry. Another thing that HIPAA does is that dentists and all healthcare professionals must follow HIPAA regulations. So, in 1996, Congress enacted the Healthcare Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which was HIPAA. When they enacted that in 1996, it actually wasn't enforced until like 2003. So they have like 7 years to prepare for this, because this was a huge thing. Like, there was such a big change when HIPAA was enacted and enforced, because people, they used to be able to have pictures of patients on the outside of the chart so that they knew who the patient was when they went out to the waiting room. They could call patients by their first and last names. They could have stickers on the outsides of charts that said if a patient was allergic to something, or if the patient was a problem patient, or, you know, a number of things. If they had low blood pressure, if they had allergies, all sorts of things. All kinds of identifiers on the outsides of charts that they cannot have now. These identifiers are illegal to have. So they could have birthdays, addresses, all sorts of things on the outsides of charts that we could never have now. But it took they gave them 7 years to change all of these things. So when this was actually enforced, I was not out working in the field, but when it was enacted, I'm sorry, I was not working out in the field. But when I was enforced, I was working out in the field. So I was in the field for a few years when they were doing the conversion. And I'll tell you that it was a major change for these offices, and I didn't know any different. So for me, I didn't know any better. So I was something that I was trying to learn to do new and make sure I was doing right, but I didn't know what was wrong. So it was something that I had to learn a lot of compliance on as it was coming out. So I'll tell you that HIPAA is very important, and no matter what, you can never divulge any patient information. This is of the utmost importance, and it doesn't matter what the situation is, unless it is a rule that allows you to divulge the information, like if a child is being hurt, or an elderly person, or someone is being hurt, or if there is being if it was like summons by the court of law, and they were allowed to view it in a court of law, then you could violate that HIPAA. It's not even a violation then. But it's very important that you understand HIPAA. So it is going to ensure that portability of the health benefits for employees who change jobs and whose eligibility for benefits might have changed because of a changed status. So what that means is, like, say you get a job and you're totally fine and you get health insurance through your employer. While you're working there, you find out that you have some awful illness or disease, and you want to change jobs. Well, in your new job, they can't ask you questions about your health to disqualify you from their health insurance plan. So you're able to change jobs and port over your insurance to your new employer. In the past, you were disqualified from new health insurance plans because of your medical problems. This Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act also provides tax credits for employers to encourage employee medical savings accounts, so like HSA and FSA savings accounts. This helps to reduce fraud and abuse, principally in Medicare and Medicaid, and it encourages administrative simplification in healthcare while maintaining patient confidentiality. So there's a lot of good information in your book about HIPAA. There's a lot of information on virtual library about HIPAA. Remember to go to virtual library under your resources in the student resources section. In Canvas, the password is Ross in lowercase letters, and use that for your reports as a resource. If you need more information, you can always ask your instructors about that. But there are many articles throughout the great World Wide Web on HIPAA, and good luck on your report. Have a great day.